Hello everybody, and this here. This is going to be a multi-part series about how I did this helicopter. So in this first part, I will explain how I did the basic shape as a shape study. And then in the next video, I will talk about the beveling the curves so we can now do some hard surface designs with the new curves inside 3D code. So let's get to the time lapse and we'll talk over the process. So here I just start with the rectangular cube shape at some kind of low density, 400,000 triangles. So we don't want to go too dense, don't want to go uh, too low density as well. So this is pretty good. And then I'm using the work side to start cutting the shapes and getting the major shape of the helicopter happening here. And I'm covering it in all from one block. You can have multiple shapes, you can have multiple blocks. Here, I decided to kind of just concentrate on one particular shape. So once I have a kind of a cutout, I will start to smooth it. So here I'm doing the unhide and adding some wings on the back, wings in the front, which I removed. And you can also see I have a backup cube, backup layer. So if I want to come back and do another study. So some of the helicopters, they do have some kind of little winglets. So thinking about having a winglets here in the middle of the body. But eventually decided to remove them and not have them at all. And you can see here I've done a duplicate copy and then I saved it as my backup layer, and now I started to really smooth everything out. So I'm pressing F12, which is my hotkey for smooth all. And then I am starting to smooth some of the shapes even more than that. Uh, so I want to make this smooth transitions, and I just use the big brush for big smooth transitions. And then if I need to introduce an element like this one, um, I will, for the rotors, I will just create it and put it in, and then I can just merge it down to the body. And to be honest, I don't really know what's a proper name for the mechanism part. There is some particular complicated name for that. So here I'm doing quite an important part. So I've done my smoothing and I've increased the density of the sculpt, and then I started to do these cutouts. So I want to get some really sharp parts, and then I want to have the sharp parts, but also smooth transitions, right? So I'm smoothing out the ones that are not sharp and getting that shape. So in this case, yeah, we don't have a full control of this all stuff. It's kind of destructive. However, we do have our backup copies, so we can go back and modify it and change it a little bit. And we also, the benefit of this is that we are doing it all really fast, really on the fly. And here doing the same thing, doing a sharp cut, and then the bottom I smooth it out to get a transition. And I'm trying to figure out something what I could do at the top, but in the end of the day, I decided that keeping it simple would actually be the best course of action, since the whole helicopter is kind of fairly simple, just like a streamlined body. So, but what I like about 3D code that you can try different shapes and see if anything works or doesn't work. And I'm just using the work side tool to hide and see if anything is good. Now I'm using the pose tool because with the pose tool, you can do it slightly different kind of deformation. I can push the shapes out and uh, do stuff like that. So they're also quite powerful shapes, but again, in this case, it just look better without having anything at all. So now adding the rotors, the blades. I'm using the blob tool and four-sided symmetry, radial four-sided symmetry. Again, this is one of the powers of 3D code, where you can do this kind of elements out of this thin air. Then I cut this out and get uh, that shape. I don't have that much reference. I did go through Pinterest and look at some helicopters, but really, at the end of the day, I wanted to do something more like a really shape study. I didn't want to go do something too real, too correct. Really, just a practice done in like 15 minutes to see what I can come up with. I was fairly happy with what I got. And I'm trying to do these other cuts on the body, and here I decided to use a different tool. In this case, I'm using a pinch tool. A pinch tool, just you can see here it's quite powerful. I can just draw a straight line, and I can get that sharp line across the body. I just have to play around with that and see how it works. So this was kind of okay. So okay, this is getting better. I changed the density. I changed like a strength of the brush. Press Control or don't press Control, and then once I like the line, I can just smooth out the other lines I don't like. So I decided to just cut out the bottom to get another sharp line, and I using okay, so doing a cut now, smoothing the top. So I'm using a straight line to smooth the top, straight brush, or like a brush with a straight line. And I'm trying different materials just to see how it looks with different materials. I do like this car paint orange. I use it a lot, all over the place. So cut the top and I'm just smoothing it. And I just combine that top part, and I'm just using the pose tool to change the shape. Duplicating some of these parts. In case you're checking it like in perspective mode, in orthographic, different materials. And that's kind of about it for the study. Then I will move on to cut it with the bevel, with the curves tool and all that stuff.